When I got to 7th grade, I started showing up to school and I had this overwhelming feeling I needed to kill myself. But I didn't understand where it was coming from. I'm not here to give you a don't do drugs speech. Not one of you students in this room right now need to hear that message, because you already know. The only thing I knew is that when I got to school, I felt really uncomfortable with myself. I tried to stop myself from feeling uncomfortable, but every time I tried to stop it, it just kept coming back. And the more it kept coming back, the more I started thinking to myself, there's something wrong with you. By the time I was 18, I was on the cover of the largest BMX racing magazine in the world. And most people would have said, don't worry about Hoff. He's gonna go off, race BMX, and be super successful. But they had no idea. When I took my helmet off, I wanted to kill myself. When I took my helmet off, I was struggling with my anxiety. When I took my helmet off, my senior year, my depression was so bad I had Saturday school every single weekend. The first drug that I ever took that tricked me into thinking I was doing just a little bit better was sleep. Sleep stopped me from being anxious. Sleep stopped me from wanting to kill myself. Sleep stopped me from feeling depression. But at 18 years old, I was just smoking weed, I said. I would never end up on hardcore drugs or become addicted. And then my friend called me one day. I got this pill, you want to split it with me? I said, what is it? He said, it's called Oxycontin. When I tried Oxycontin for the first time with one of my best friends, instantly, my anxiety stopped. My suicidal thoughts were over and my depression was lifted.
I think one word that would describe Tony's speaking engagement today is vulnerability. He was very vulnerable to the kids, and they need that. I think we live in a society right now that kids don't need to hear any bull crap. They need to hear real life experiences, and that's what they heard today.
When I get to Wasco State Prison, I'm on D yard, cell 254, I got the top bunk. So I set 4 goals in a prison cell. When I get out of here, I'm gonna race BMX professionally. I'm going back to my gift. When I get out of here, I'm gonna go to the Olympics. When I get out of here, I'm gonna start a nonprofit organization for kids called the Free Will Project that uses action sports to work with kids in at-risk areas of Southeast Fresno. And when I get out of here, I'm gonna become a professional speaker. But I don't know how I'm gonna go from a prison cell to the Olympics. But I read in this really big book that they love in the South. And it said, if you could be trusted with little, you could be trusted with much. I'm 23 years old in a California penitentiary cell and I can't brush my teeth every single day. If I can't brush my teeth every single day, then how could I ever be trusted with an event like the Olympics? All the really small decisions that we think don't matter are actually the big decisions. Because how we manage the small decisions determines how we show up for the big decisions. But also how we manage the small decisions determines how many opportunities that we manifest in our future that put us in place for bigger things to happen. So until we can show that we're stewards or managers over small things, we never actually get to see ourselves get to big things. So I started brushing my teeth every single day, not to stop bad breath or cavities, to get to the Olympics. The magic behind me starting with brushing my teeth, or you learning how to show up to class on time, or actually study for tests, or stop disrespecting your teachers, or helping your family out with the stuff that they ask you to help out. The magic behind this is if you actually assign an intention behind the work, like when I brushed my teeth, I said I'm going to the Olympics, you're actually creating the energy for more things to flow your direction and bigger things to start happening. But you have to start seeing that all the little decisions in your life right now are actually the big decisions. So I started brushing my teeth every single day, telling myself I'm going to the Olympics. Then I learned how to make my bed every single day. After I learned how to make my bed every single day, I learned how to organize my stuff. After I learned how to organize my stuff, I learned how to be disciplined. My ability to do good work when I didn't want to do good work at all. When I got out of prison, I was a completely different person. I hadn't touched a bike in 7 years. I took 3rd place. They invited me to the Olympic Training Center down in Southern California. I had been speaking now for a year. I'm racing BMX. I get to the Olympic level 1 year after racing my bicycle. The 2nd year I'm racing at the Olympic level, I made 6 finals with the top athletes in the world for my sport. My dream is about to come to fruition. We're racing neck and neck. He makes a mistake over a jump at 30 miles an hour. He hits me, and I hit my leg. When it hit the ground, it snapped my ACL, and it ended my racing career. By 2016, I'd coached 3 national champions, 2 world champions, had 25 athletes from Australia to Bolivia I became one of the biggest coaches in the world for the sport of BMX racing. In July of 2016, my top female athlete, Brooke Crane, called me. She said, "Pack your bags, Hoff. We're going to the Olympics." Here's the kind of speaker I wish I had when I was a kid. A speaker that came in and told their story, not me what to do. A speaker that came in and talked about the decisions they made, not the ones I need to make. A speaker that talked about real life things that I could actually relate to, that I could walk away from the presentation and think about my own decisions, think about what I wanted from life, and think about the friends that I was going to keep. And when I started speaking almost 16 years ago now, that's exactly what I wanted to do when I came in as a speaker. I wanted to come in and speak to students, not with what they need to do with their life, but what I did with my life. The consequences that came with my decisions, the consequences that came with ignoring my mental health and my mental wellness, and the overall outcomes I received in my life, that some of them I didn't want them to go through. But by putting my life story out there and telling things from a position of sheer vulnerability, I could give students an opportunity to walk out of the doors after an amazing presentation and ask themselves, what can I do differently that Tony did differently? And what can I do similarly that Tony did? Because I want his new outcomes, I don't want his old outcomes. And I've learned so much about mental health, and I've learned so much about substance use and how those two are connected, that today I am no longer the same person. And if you bring me in to speak, that's exactly what you're gonna get from my presentation and exactly how the kids are gonna respond. The greatest opinion I can have is the one I have of myself. And so while I might feel hurt, I talk to myself with grace, because that's what I want everybody else to experience. The reason that the Olympic experience was one of the greatest moments in my life, it's not because it was the Olympics. It's the process that got me there.
He speaks real life language to the students. They can relate to him. They understand the things that he's gone through. Many of them have struggles in their life, and I think he does a wonderful job, and they would love to have him come back very soon here.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you.